some great news yesterday for LSU basketball is they received their first transfer in from the transfer portal, Jordan Wright from Vanderbilt. We have talked about Jordan on this show multiple times, so I think by now everyone is pretty familiar with Jordan Wright, 6'6", 220-pound guard from Vanderbilt, but originally from right here in Baton Rouge. He attended the Dunham School and was a really, really good player up there at Vanderbilt. He was Vince Carter's first commitment and signee at Vanderbilt. Not Vince Carter. I'm completely Jerry Stackhouse. It's just totally blank. Somebody that could throw it down in the late '90s, early 2000s. And so at Vanderbilt, over the course of his career, he started 73 games for him, played in 123. He averaged for his Vanderbilt career 9.5 points, but over the last 2 years, 12.3 points per game and 10.5 points per game. So a double-figure scorer, a guy that 2 years ago shot it at a 42% clip. From a 35% clip. 3 years ago, shot 43% from three in kind of a reduced role. Jordan Wright is not going to come to LSU and become an all-league player, a 21-point-per-game scorer. He's not a program-changing player that's going to come in and save the day. What he is a trusted veteran guard who can shoot the ball, who's been through SEC play. He is not in any way, shape, or form a question mark. He is a certainty when he takes the floor. You had some question marks that you brought in this past year. Some panned out awesome, some did not. This is not a question mark. This is a guy who's going to come in. He's going to be a great locker room guy. He's going to be a contributor on the wing. He can play defense. He's made big shots. He made the shot to beat Kentucky in Rupp this past year, and he immediately betters your basketball team entering next year. So that's a nice add at the guard spot, where we've talked about now for 3 weeks that they have got to get better at the guard spot, and he does that for you. It may be a reaction to some people when you see Jordan Wright, well, this doesn't move the needle for me. And that's fine if it doesn't move the needle for you, but it is what it is. It's a guy that's going to help you in the backcourt, and so I think that's a really good add for LSU, and certainly not an unexpected one. The second he went to the transfer portal, I came on and told you, hey, this is one you probably need to look at. On the negative side, earlier today, Sean Phillips, the freshman 7-footer, has entered his name into the transfer portal. That's disappointing for LSU for sure. I don't know how expected it was. I'm not sure what the discussions have been. However, Sean Phillips did show some real promise late in his freshman season. And 7-footers can take some time. At some point when you're a 7-footer, you've had some massive growth spurt that you've had to kind of adjust to in your life. And Sean Phillips was not ready to play in November. If you watched him play at all, you could have seen that. I think there were some people that watched him kind of emerge, especially defensively and on the rebounding side of things, in late February, and said, well, why wasn't this guy playing all year? Well, it's not quite that simple. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to have that production off the bench all year, especially when KJ got into some foul trouble. But he wasn't ready, and then he made some strides and gave you some real help, and that would have been a piece, a 7-footer that can move, that can run, that can jump, and is kind of developing on the offensive end is always a piece that you'd like to keep around and develop in the program. And that was a guy that I thought LSU could expect to make a step next year in the front court, where you've still got Derek Fountain, and you've still got Jalen Reed, and you've still got some size and some length down there that may blossom into a better front court than you had this past year in totality. Maybe not just with KJ, but in totality. And it appears that you're going to be one leg short there. Sean Phillips has decided he's going to leave, and that's just the nature of this thing. Every year you got to re-recruit the roster, and that's why it's just not as simple as what do you bring in from the high school ranks, because the odds are most high schoolers are going to look elsewhere. Some aren't, but most are. You look at the rosters across the SEC this year, and the amount of people that transferred in is staggering. And that means they transferred out of somewhere. So to just look at recruiting rankings over a 3-year period and determine, okay, this is what the team should be, that's just not the way it works anymore. And you've got to continue to go recruit high-level high school players, but you've also got to go out there and re-recruit them when they get to campus and recruit the transfer portal to turn over almost 70-80% of your roster each and every year. It's not the most practical thing I've ever seen in the entire world, and you can argue whether it's good or bad, and I'll sit here and listen to either side of it. The fact of the matter is it is what it is. And so you brought in 3 guys who are pretty talented freshmen in this class that you thought to be developing, and now one of them with a pretty high upside has decided he's going to look elsewhere, and that's pretty disappointing. So in the same 24 hours where you get a nice piece to your basketball program in Jordan Wright to come in and play his last year of eligibility on the wing, you lose some depth and some upside in the front court as Sean Phillips has decided he's going to enter the transfer portal. So that's disappointing, but it is what it is. And I know for a fact that Matt McMahon is working that transfer portal really hard. They're having as many visitors to campus as they can get. And I think you'll hear over the next 3 weeks or so, more names continue to jump in the boat and potentially more names jump out. You just never quite know until those things actually happen. 18, 19, 20-year-olds can be pretty fickle at times and make decisions on a whim. So Jordan Wright in, Sean Phillips out. Hey, thanks so much for watching the Hunt Palmer Show on YouTube. If you don't mind, throw us a like right below and hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time.